one of the ways for me that I think about it is America, or the West, Canada, Europe, is like a beautiful doll. Everything works perfectly, its hair is right in the right shape, and its skin is the right way, and its lips are the right way, and you pull a string, and a nice little song comes out. But it's a doll. It's hollow. And you may like to look at it for a little while, and the child may be fascinated by it for a few moments. But how long are you going to keep pulling the string, listening to the same battery-recorded voice? And India, on the other hand, rather than the two eyelashes fluttering up and down at the same time, maybe one eyelash flutters, the other doesn't. Maybe the hair is not exactly in the right way. Maybe when you pull the string, the battery is running out of juice a little bit, the voice is a little different. But there's a spirit inside it. There's a heartbeat inside of it. It's alive. And for our lives, we don't want to marry a doll. Nobody would marry a doll and want to spend their lives with a doll. For our lives, we need to have that which is alive, that which has the spirit. And that is India. That is the divine beauty, the spirit of India. It's a spirit that if you walk up into the Himalayas and you see a woman, a village woman carrying pounds and pounds of firewood on her head back to the village to cook the one meal a day for her family, and you say to her, "How are you?" She'll say, "Sab Bhagwan ki kripa." She has nothing. She has spent her day collecting firewood to cook one meal. But Sab Bhagwan ki kripa. You ask the sweeper in Rishikesh, "How are you?" He'll say, "Sab Ganga ki kripa." You come here and you ask people as they're opening the doors of their Mercedes or their Rolls Royce, "How are you?" And you get a list. The mortgage, the traffic, the husband, the wife, the children, the in-laws, the interest rates, gas prices, whatever it is. And the reason for that is that we've lost that divine connection. We're letting go of that which truly holds us together. That which keeps the joy and the meaning in our lives. That which should be the axis around which our lives revolve. I want to conclude with a very quick joke. It's a story, it's a joke. A man goes to the doctor. Now, typically when people go to the doctor, they go with one complaint. A headache, a backache. But this man goes and he says, "Doctor, my entire body hurts. Wherever I touch, it hurts. I touch my head, it hurts. I touch my stomach, it hurts. I touch my back, it hurts." So the doctor's very surprised. He runs every scan, every test. And at the end, he calls the man in and he says, "I have some good news and some bad news. Good news is, there's nothing wrong with your head or your back or your shoulder. The bad news is, your finger's broken. And because your finger's broken, whatever you touch, it hurts. But the problem's not in your body. The problem's in the finger. And in our lives, it's the same thing. Our lives hurt, but we blame it. We blame it on all of those things around us. Our spouses, our children, our parents, our in-laws, our employers, our employees, mortgage rates, interest rates, the weight we put on over the holidays, whatever it is. But our connection is broken. And when that connection is joined, is back together. It's not that that man would never have a headache or a backache. Of course he would, he's human. But touching a head that hurts with a finger that's not broken is a lot less painful than touching a head with a finger that is broken. And going through life, it's not that being connected to God or to your culture is somehow an inoculation against failure or against loss. But when we are connected, when we're joined, when we're united, when we are anchored, waves of life come, but we are anchored. So you're all very, very lucky and very blessed that you have this beautiful mandir, that you have Dr. Dubeji, that you have this opportunity here to stay connected, to bring you back together, to keep you anchored. And my prayer is that not only will you keep coming, but that you'll make sure that your children and your grandchildren, and your nieces and nephews, that they'll keep coming, so that they too have that anchor in their lives. Today, we have with us two very, very respected speakers. Yesterday they were saying that the talks here today, the theme, was going to be science and spirituality. And yet, even before any words have been spoken, simply by having the two of them here, we have the union of science and spirituality. Actually, in Indian culture, they're not really separate things. The first scientists were the rishis. They didn't make their discoveries in chemistry labs. They made it through meditation. They made it through divine connection. We have with us His Holiness Puja Swami Chidanand Saraswati Ji, who is the president, the spiritual head of Parmarth Nikatan Ashram in Rishikesh, Himalayas in India, on the banks of Mother Ganga. The word Parmarth literally means dedicated to the welfare of all. And that is not only the name of his ashram, but it is also the message, the mission, and the motto of Puja Swamiji's life. Through being the founder and the chairman of India Heritage Research Foundation, and through being the head of Parmarth, the number of projects for the benefit of the world, for the benefit of humanity, the number is innumerable, truly. Free schools, women's vocational training programs, upliftment programs, orphanages, rural development programs, tsunami relief, other disaster programs, ecological programs, environmental protection programs, cleanup Ganga programs, ashrams on the banks of Lake Mansarovar, in the heights of Mount Kailash, the monumental encyclopedia of Hinduism. The list goes on and on. It's a very great blessing to have Puja Swamiji here. As Dr. Dubeji said, he's been connected to the Vishnu Mandir for many, many decades, and it's some place that holds a very, very special place in his heart. We also have one of India's most renowned, respected, and eminent scholars and scientists, Dr. Subhash Kakchi. He is the head of the Computer Science Department at Oklahoma State University. But that is just one of the small hats that he wears. He is also a very renowned physicist, philosopher, scientist of literature, language, and the scriptures. He's at ease quoting from a variety of scriptures as he is quoting from esoteric scientific discoveries. He is also one of the very renowned and most prominent scholars of our Encyclopedia of Hinduism project, who has given innumerable hours of his life to ensuring that this project comes out in a state of truly divine perfection. So it's a wonderful, beautiful blend of the the science and the spirituality. I would like to ask Dr. Swasti to please first speak, just so that everybody has some idea of our agenda. We'll have about 10 minutes from each of the two speakers. We will then open the floor for questions and answers for both of them, which will conclude with a meditation and then the arati at 12:30.
Swamiji, Dr. Dubeji, Ji, and friends. I consider it a blessing to have been part of this satra that's going on here. It's a beautiful mandir, and it's been a wonderful experience. And yesterday, I had the opportunity also to take a tour and pay my respects, and also see this wonderful new movie on the cosmos that's been made here. Now, the question of science and spirituality, science and religion, is perhaps especially complicated now, because to all practical purposes, as far as the media is concerned, as far as what we are taught in the universities is concerned, we live in the age of science. And science has so many seductions for the young, that one assumes, as a young person, one assumes that all the answers that are there to be had are to be found in the hallways of the colleges and universities and in scientific texts. But in reality, that's in a counterintuitive manner not really the case, because science gives us a lot of information about interconnections that exist amongst processes in nature. But it doesn't tell us what that nature is. That's a mystery that remains or continues to remain elusive. I've known some of the world's leading scientists, and they are like everybody else. You know, they may have been fortunate enough to make some discoveries related to mathematics or related to some abstractions that describe one process or the other. But in their personal lives, or if you were to ask them, what is the mystery, what is this reality, they would not be able to respond to it. In fact, the most famous of the scientists of our times, Albert Einstein, whose images in the hallways of this mandir, his own personal life was a very unhappy one. And he treated his wife, Elsa, his second wife, and his relatives in the most cruel fashion. So he, I suppose, was also as much in the dark as everybody else, where all this was going, what was behind it. Because the question there is, and it's one of the young people yesterday after our talks who came up, and he said, well, as far as he's concerned, the only way to make sense of this world is to see that it's a product of chance, and there's nothing more to it. Now, this is a question that is posed right in the beginning in exactly the same words in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Is there just chance as the underlying logic to this reality, or is there an intelligence, as Dr. Dubey was talking about, which underlies this reality? Now, as scientists, we, by examining the various specialized sciences, push the problem further back. But that problem remains, and for example, in all the efforts that have gone into creation of artificial intelligence. Without success, people have realized that intelligence is not mere manipulation of information. There is something ineffable. There is something that cannot be captured in representations by sequences or in representations by language. And what is that which is inexpressible or uncapturable? That is what the Vedas address themselves to, and that is the Paravidya. Right? That is the transcendent knowledge which underlies this mystery. And in the Vedic text, this transcendent knowledge was communicated by means of this idea of bandhu, of the connections between the inner and the outer. We worship the outer sun because it's just like the inner sun, which is that lamp of consciousness which illuminates our inner world, which makes us see patterns or makes sense of our life and our world. Right? So there is a connection between the inner and the outer. Just as the outer world of the sun and the moon and the earth, right? We have the moon illuminating the night, reflecting the light of the sun, and we are of course on the earth, and sun is what gives us energy which makes all the processes on earth happen and which makes life possible. So likewise, we have the body, which is our earth. We have the pranas, which are the intermediate processes, the breath, and then we have the inner sun. In fact, in the Gayatri mantra itself, when you start out by saying, when you invoke Bhu, Bhuva and Swaha, Bhu is the earth, Bhuva is the intermediate world, and Swaha or Swar is the Swarga, or it's the sun. So what we are speaking of is a correspondence of the inner and the outer. Now what's interesting is that the outer has a certain structure to it. This is something that came up yesterday. The sun is 108 times its diameter away from the earth. It's a fact that you can confirm. And likewise the moon is 108 times its own diameter away from the earth. And most astonishingly, because this is something that only modern science has discovered in the last few decades, that the diameter of the sun itself is 108 times the diameter of the earth. And this is something that the rishis knew, which is why they made 108 one of the central numbers. In fact, in the Japamala, when you go through the 108 beats, what you're doing is making a symbolic journey from your body, which is the earth, to the sky, to the sun, who is within you, who is Ishvara, or who is Vishnu, or who is the goddess. So, what the Hindu religion, what the Vedas tell us are, or what they provide us are all these different intimations of the transcendent. And but you can, since all of us is within us, since the Purusha resides within us, since divinity is within us, the discovery process is not a process of where you are receiving something from outside, which would be the right view of it, if one were to imagine that things are outside of us and we are receiving them through our senses. But in reality, it's all within us. And the question of surrender, prayer and surrender, is to surrender to the inner divinity so that this unveiling would occur. This unveiling which hides the truth from us. You know, you can use the image of the one sun and a million reflections of it in different pots of water. Each one of us is that pot of water. if one were to make the waves on this become calm, if we make our mind calm, if we still the vrittis of our chitta, then we'll be able to see the brightness of that sun in all its glory. And I think that's an amazing insight, that's amazing wisdom, which is what the entire world is ready for, because this world, the West has its great tradition itself, but what's happened now is all of the world, the West and the East included, is moving towards a situation where everything is becoming machine-like because of the machines that we are a part of. It's as if that we are constructing another golden city of Lanka, but without its spirit, without connection to the moving spirit behind it, this golden city is lifeless, which is what Bhakti was alluding to. And while being here, we can make this a city of God, the shining city on the hill. Any place, all of the world is one. Bharatvarsh eventually expands, and all of the world is a part of that. And in this wonderful temple, what we are doing here, or what we are a part of it here, is to bring this wisdom to these shores, and who knows, the rebirth that the world is all waiting for might have its brightest spark here, and from here and from the other sparks that are in Rishikesh and elsewhere, we would facilitate the dawning of the new golden age. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Subhashji, for the beautiful talk. Perhaps the golden city which we will be able to create with the Divine Spirit rather than without the Divine Spirit will be the golden city of Dwarka rather than the golden city of Lanka. If we keep that spirit there, keep that connection to the divinity within as well as the divinity without. It's a very great honor to request Pujya Swamiji now to share with us his words of wisdom and insight and inspiration.
Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garudathvaja Mangalam Pundarikaksha Mangala Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvar Sadhike Sharanye Tyambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Brahma Murari Tripurantakari Bhanu Shashibu सुतो बुधस्य गुरुश्च शुक्रः शनिराहु केतवः सर्वे ग्रहाः शान्तिकरा सर्वे ग्रहाः शान्तिकरा भवन्तु। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनातु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्तिः Respected Dr. Dubey, respected Sadhvi Bhagawati ji, our very eminent and distinguished scholar, Shri Subhashkar ji, Matri Shakti, my sisters and brothers. I'm very happy to be here today. Especially being in this beautiful temple. Since the inception of this temple, when Dr. Dubey started this temple, in those early days, I was here, and since then I have seen the dedication, the commitment, and determination of this man. Being a surgeon, being a doctor, being a medical practitioner, and at the same time being a priest. sometime when I see his devotion and dedication, it shows here is a blend of science and spirituality, both together in one man. I don't know why, but I love this man because of many reasons. Sometimes the priests, the saints, being in their own temples or in their own caves, cannot dedicate their life, not all of them, but most of them I've seen, cannot dedicate their life with 100% dedication. They have their agendas. But here, even after having full practice, family that is concerned about India, Indian culture and Hinduism, I was amazed to see the film. Beautiful film. I think everyone must see this film. To have a great lesson, to have a great teaching, to have these values and insights just dropped in through that one film. Everyone must see that film. I think it should be shared to all the temples all over the world. Our children are looking forward for this kind of direction. They are confused, they are very dedicated, very committed, but they don't know where to go. They want to lean on something. Where to go? One side they see the sciences having all the proofs, and other side they see the spirituality and the people who practice spirituality in their daily lives, but still they are not happy, they are not calm, they are not serene. They see their parents around. First word is their own parents. They look around, they go out, see a different word, they come back inside, they see a different word, and they get confused. Our seers and sages, our rishis, they were the greatest scientists. They were the greatest psychiatrists. They brought together all in one and they shared with us through the beautiful scriptures of Hinduism. I yesterday also said, even these scriptures, these beautiful insights, wisdom and values were born in India, came through those seers, but does not belong only to the Hindus and Indians, but to the humanity at large. That's why Hinduism is a universal religion. Be proud of to be Hindu. Learn Hinduism and share with all. You can be the greatest contributor to these countries. You are wonderful that you have education of this country. Great. Be Canadian, be American, where the professional excellence are concerned. But stay Indian, where the domestic life is concerned. Very important. And share these values. You have the both. You are very lucky. Blend the both and share with the world. And you are very lucky you have the both. Education of this wonderful country. God bless Canada. And at the same time, you have the values of this beautiful civilization. That's what this film shows. The world, modern science, Hindu civilization and spirituality. And how they are one, this is science and this is spiritual science. But all this science and spirituality starts at home. Temple comes later. Temples are inspiration. I'm glad, Dr. Dubey, that you have not this temple place just for worship only. This temple is a place, a center of education. That was the purpose of these temples. Not to just come to the temple, worship and go back. Temples were a place, a center of inspiration, of education and transformation. The energy is so high there whenever you come. But the ultimate goal was not only to come to temple, but make your home temple and make your life temple. That is the science has been given by the seers and the sages of India. The family first. I was in Chicago long ago. One family came to listen to the lecture, and the brother and sister after the lecture came to me. Can we talk to you for 2 minutes? But we want a private discussion. We have the time, and they said, what is the use of this education? This is great, you get degree, you can earn money. Through this education you learn more, then you earn more, and then you can serve the people. And you are very lucky, you are here, you are studying in Harvard, and your parents can afford it to send you to the Harvard. You are very lucky. I said, but to us, we don't see any use of this education, these degrees. I said, why are you not telling me this? They said, my mom is MD. She's a doctor. My father is a scientist. Both have a great place in the community. Everybody adores them. But when they come back home from job or from any party, first thing they do, fight. Fight and fight. And sometimes comes to our heart, run away. My brother and me, we talk to each other, the sister said, and we just want to run away.